So guys, we have truly reached an end of an era right now with Superman and Lois Season 4 Episode 10 titled It Went By So Fast. This is truly an end of an era for this section of DCTV stuff. I know you don't really need to consider Superman and Lois part of the Arrowverse stuff, but when you consider it in part of the Arrowverse context, truly this is an end of an era where we have now completed this section of DCTV completely, and that has wrapped up with Superman and Lois. And I have to say, I could not have thought of a more perfect way to end off this show. This episode was absolutely, from start to finish, just an absolute masterpiece. By far my favorite DCTV finale that we ever had, and one of my favorite episodes just in general. This finale was genuinely so damn good, so emotional. We had this final Superman action scenes with the main antagonist Lex Luthor. We have a lot of emotional scenes, especially towards the end, all of which we are going to talk about. Now, I did wish that I could have fully joined in for the ride in terms of Superman and Lois content, but I have been very, very busy. But I just had to make a video for the finale, as of course this is the series finale. But like I said, this episode from start to finish was absolutely perfect and by far the best series finale of any DC TV show. Superman and Lois has been the most consistent DC TV show, in my opinion, is quality wise the best one out of any DC TV show we have. And like I said, season 4 has been a blast, and I just cannot wait to talk about this episode because, like I said, it was freaking epic. So without wasting any more time, let's just get straight into my review and breakdown for Superman and Lois Season 4 Episode 10, also known as the series finale for this show. Now, this episode pretty much kicks off from last episode where we have Superman facing off against Doomsday. Now, while that is happening, we do have John Henry on a date with Lana. They're not really aware of what's going on at the moment. They're on a date and they're talking about how this is their 4th date in months, and Lana's pretty much talking about the fact that maybe it's just not meant to be. And while that's happening, we have destruction taking place. John Henry's walking out and then it just gets blasted. We have Doomsday and Superman just flying across Smallville and just absolutely tearing each other apart. We have Doomsday just absolutely beating the living crap out of Superman, and Lois orders the boys to go help their father, which of course Superman's insisting, no, this is not your fight, I got this. But you do see Clark really, really struggle, and there's a lot of emotional stakes in this episode. You see how worried Lois gets for Clark because he's just getting absolutely torn apart. And I just really love the fact that every single scene was just so well shot and just so intense. I really, really, really just enjoyed everything, cinematography wise, and just the way they've handled a lot of stuff I really, really loved. But of course we do have Jordan and Jonathan helping Clark, and yeah, they are facing off against Doomsday. Now, while that's happening, John Henry of course goes to his armory as he's looking for stuff to help out, saying that he obviously does not have access to his suit because it's been stolen, and of course Lex Luthor has possession of his suit. But of course John Henry does come and help in various different forms, and we do see this eventually. We do have Clark just absolutely beaten up, and Lois is just reaching out trying to help Clark. Clark eventually gets up, and John Henry does mention that he has an idea to stop Doomsday. Now, while that's happening, of course Jonathan and Jordan are distracting Doomsday, they're flying around. That is until Superman comes up with a plan, and I really love the shot where just Superman stands in front of the fire and then we just have the fire in the back as a distraction. All of that I thought was really, really cool. And of course we have Superman dodging Doomsday's punch, which eventually leads to a blast with John Henry's hammer, and that knocks Doomsday down. And now he's dead for now, but of course he is gonna come back alive and stronger, and this is when Superman comes up with the plan to just fly him to the sun, because of course with him this makes Doomsday weaker, so this was the only solution that he was able to think of. Now, while that's happening, Lois and Lana of course come up with a plan to pretty much expose Lex Luthor and everything he's been doing, so they try to find Amanda, in which Jordan and Jonathan are tasked in doing so. And while that's happening, Lex is just on full assassination mode, trying to assassinate Amanda, but of course the boys get to her first and they end up saving her. But this also means one thing: Lex Luthor is after the Kent family. So like I said, there's a lot of stakes taking place in this episode. Now, of course, they do try to, broadcast like a news screen where Lois is trying to talk about what's happening and all the recent activities that Lex Luthor has been up to, but this has been stopped through like a hacking system that, of course, the hacker that works with Lex Luthor. Now, as I said, while that's happening, we have Superman continuing to fly Doomsday up into the sun. And while that's happening, you do see Doomsday slowly awakening. Like, you do see he's getting stronger and he's getting stronger. And I really, really love this scene. Not just because of the CGI and just the incredible visual effects that this show has in general, but also, like, we have Doomsday fully awakening and he turns back into, like, Bizarro mode. Like, his eyes go back blue. Like, he realizes like what he's done. He gets flashbacks to his Bizarro world, like himself in his like past self, and like his version of Lois and all of that. And like without Clark having to punch him, Doomsday just goes like, hold on, and Clark just pushes him into the sun. And this is where we have the end of Doomsday as he disintegrates. But like I said, I really did love the visual effects in this episode especially, and like I said, it is the series finale, so this is kind of expected that they would have good visual effects. But this has been something good with Superman and Lois in general, but this series finale wise, it has some very, very incredible shots that I'm definitely showing like on the screen as I talk through. Now, like I said, we do have Lex Luthor after the Kent family, and we do have Lex pretty much pinning Jordan down, like he's got him in the chokehold, and he's talking about like how like weak he is and all that sorts of stuff. And then we have Lois Lane coming in, of course, like helping her boys, and he's like how you have to rely on a suit to beat up a 16-year-old kid, which I found pretty funny. And this is of course a distraction to just make Lex all angry, and she does plant this device onto Lex, which eventually like kind of disables him temporarily. But also this, he's about to kill Lois, but she's like, I'm not going to be the one that's going to stop you, but he will. And then we have this incredible, just absolutely gorgeous fight scene between Superman and Lex Luthor. We have Lex Luthor pretty much like shooting this kryptonite device onto him, which just keeps getting deeper and deeper into Clark, so like he's like struggling to stop it. And eventually, of course, Clark is able to overcome it. Like, he pulls out the kryptonite, and an incredible fight scene just kicks off between the two enemies. And like I said, the visual effects in this scene is just absolutely amazing. Especially, I love the part where like Superman just goes in for like the full Superman punch, and then like as he punches Lex, like you do see like the suit just shatter off, and you see like coming off Lex. I found that really, really sick. And yeah, that is where we have Smallville saved. Superman has defeated Lex once and for all, and we have it all broadcasted as well. So Lex has been exposed and the Kent family save the day. Now, this is when we head into the more emotional stuff, and I have to say, in terms of like the flash forwards, the 1 year later and then the 32 years later, I believe it was, like everything has been written off so well. Like every character has been wrapped up so incredibly well that like I could not have thought of a better way for them to do this. So I really loved how everything was executed. We do of course have Clark with a monologue as he's talking through everything. We do have Chrissy and Kyle of course married, and they do have a baby. We're entering John Henry and Lana's wedding. All of that I found just really, really good. And of course we do have the final interaction between Sarah and Jordan. And I did really love this scene where we have Clark and Lois talk about like what's going to happen with Superman and Lois Lane, like what do they stand for. Lois like truth and justice, and I love how Clark is staring at like the wall where it says "It went by so fast," which of course is the title of the episode. And yes, this has been one hell of a ride. It just feels like season 4 just aired last week and we've already reached the finale, which was really, really deep. But we do find out that of course Lex Luthor's appeal was denied, so yeah, he's staying into prison. And we do find out that it's tough time for Lex because he doesn't get his old prison cell because there's a new guy pretty much in control of all the prisons, and this guy has Lex Luthor's old room, and that is none other than Bruno Mannheim himself. And I found that pretty hilarious as well. Now we do have Superman, or like a monologue from Clark talking about like real world like events taking place. And like we do have a very cool montage of just some really, really sick things happening. Like we do have Jordan and Jonathan wearing their Superboy suits for the first time, and we do have like the whole super family flying. We do see John Henry with a new suit, like his comic book accurate suit. We have Natalie flying we have Jordan and Jonathan wearing their Superboy suits flying alongside Superman. I found that shot really just so incredible. We do also find out that Clark and Lois have pretty much set up a foundation to help those in need, and I just thought that like everything was just so beautifully written. But yeah, like I said, we do find out that Superman, or Clark, does continue to live on for 32 more years, and this is where we see Jordan and Jonathan all grown up. You know, they have kids and stuff. Now, I don't know in terms of who like Jordan marries. Does he marry Sarah? Does he marry someone else? I don't know if I've missed anything, but I'm pretty sure they didn't really say. But like as I said, as we get these flash forwards, we do get more of Clark and Lois just growing old, and the makeup's just so well done, and we do both see them old, and we do find out that Lois's cancer has returned, and this is where we do have the sad death of Lois. Ever since these flash forwards started, everything just started becoming so emotional. You do see how lonely Clark begins to get as well. And like it was very emotional, I cannot lie. It was very just so sad to see. And yeah, we do have like Clark being all alone. He does mention that Jordan and Jonathan come in like to visit once in a while, and like he does it almost every day. I found this really cool, but Clark then does get a dog. He's like, I can't believe I have never had a dog before, and he names it Crypto, which of course is the super dog, which I found pretty cool as well. And this is where it gets sad, man. It just gets really sad. We do have Kyle and Clark like walking across Smallville, around Smallville, as they're old, and we have Clark getting a heart attack, and he drops to the floor the same way his father did. And of course we do find out that that isn't what ends him, but like he eventually survives that, but dies in a much more peaceful way. And I really loved how like young Clark's soul just comes out, and then like he's in the afterlife, he sees all of his loved ones again, he hugs his boys, he sees Lana, John Henry, he sees Kyle, he even like goes up to Lex and just forgives him. Oh my god, everything was just so perfect and just so emotional to watch. And of course the door is opened and he just sees Lois standing there, and we do end off the episode with the final kiss between Superman and Lois. Like I said, this episode was just absolutely 10 out of 10, perfect from start to finish. Everything was so good, visual effects were so good, the fight scenes were so good, the messages displayed in this episode so good, and it was a very emotional episode, and just such a perfect way, in my opinion, to wrap up such a beautiful show. And I am so glad that this show was able to end off in the terms that they wanted to, because it would have been unfair if they didn't. And man, oh man, was this so worth it. Like, this finale was just absolutely from start to finish just perfect. But yeah guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please give a like and subscribe. Be sure to let me know in the comment section down below what you guys thought about this episode. I'm interested to see what all of you guys thought about this episode as well. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.